Some growing fears the Tokyo Olympics, believe it or not, could be canceled the longer this drags on. Sports agent Doug Eldridge has been representing athletes in the upcoming games and many, many more. Doug, how likely would that be? Obviously, they'd like to get a sense of where things are maybe next month, the month after, but the games are scheduled for the summer, so how soon do they have to lock the decision, yay or nay?
Well, opinions vary on this, Neil. The games are slated to start July 24th, but there's kind of a blast radius, 3 months out, 2 months out. Exactly how close is it even an option to consider moving or altering this? But when you hear these people talk about just shifting this around as if it's pieces on a Tetris board, I don't think they appreciate the scope and size and sheer scale of the Summer Olympics. When you look at Rio 2016, there was over 11,000 athletes from 205 countries competing in 306 events, over 28 sports across 37 venues. And I say all of that to say there is nothing like this on the American sporting calendar that can even come close to the sheer magnitude. So moving it, shifting it, bumping it forward or backwards is not as easy a lift, so to speak, as you might think.
You know, has this ever happened, Doug? I mean, you're a great student of sports history. I've heard of things canceled as a result of, political squabbles and Cold War tensions with the Russians and, our protesting going there in 1980, the Russians returning the favor, I think, in 84, but not for something like this.
No, sir. There was a wartime cancellation, but again, that was wartime. And there were boycotts driven by politics and the underlying divide inherent during the Cold War period. But in terms of a worldwide global epidemic or outbreak, we've never seen that before. And when you look at recent Olympics, whether it was the White Widows coming in the run-up to Sochi, the female terrorist, or the Zika virus in Rio in 2016, or just the general geopolitical instability heading into the Pyeongchang Games in 2018, nothing has been really on the scale as the coronavirus, because we're seeing with now, 80,000 cases, nearly 3,000 deaths across Europe, Asia, and the MENA region. This is terrifying. This is terrifying. And I mentioned that statistic about the 11,000 athletes from 205 countries because people are coming quite literally from around the world to one centralized place, an island no less, Japan. And not to sound doomsday or Johnny pessimist, but the opportunity for sheer cataclysmic impact it really can't be understated.
Especially when in our country they talk about, large gatherings of people. I mean, be careful. And then, of course, that's the capital of large crowds this summer. So I just feel bad a lot for the athletes, who might be denied a chance to compete. But we'll see.
It's really tough, Neil. The thing you have to remember is the Olympics are every 4 years. It's not like the Super Bowl where if the Patriots lose, they have a chance to run it back the next year. The Olympics are every 4 years. But for these athletes, they train quite literally their entire life just for the opportunity to qualify for one Olympic team. So whether you move it back to the fall, which would be prohibitive because of the television contracts and the conflict there, or moving it forward one full calendar year to 2021, it just doesn't work. It doesn't mesh either on the economic side or the actual side. I mean, look, the IOC does $4 billion in media rights contracts during a 4-year cycle. The NBC alone in 2016 made $1.2 billion in ad sales across traditional media and their digital platforms. So you have the economics of scale, and then you have the actual harsh realities, the impact for these athletes. We pass this way but once, right, as the saying goes. And if this were to pass them by, their opportunity might not return.
Yeah, I hope it all works out. Doug, great job as always, my friend. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.